Here at one of my early builds, I thought I would do a little bit of a walkthrough and talk about this property that I built, what I learned. So I'm trying to get it in the picture behind me. So this one was, I was working with the city, and every city's different. They have a number of parking spots you have to have based off the number of bedrooms. And for this one to work, I had to do a 3-unit property. These are 3-bedroom, 2-bath. What happened was, and talking to the city, I couldn't get a 4th unit on there, but what I asked them is, actually talked to them about was, I had enough space to build these storage units, which you see here on the side. Of course, they asked, well, are you going to offer these to the public? Because if I did, it's a different zoning. And I said, no, I'm offering them to my tenants. So for this extra 10 feet to build these storage units, it ended up costing, because I already have the common wall on the side, it was about $22,000 for these extra 5 storage units. They're 10 by 10s. And I'm renting them out to my tenants because I have a property right beside it, also another 4-plex, and I offered it to my tenants. I kept one myself because I needed it for all the builds and just things I needed, but I've rented out the other 4 at $50 a unit. You can also see here, and I'm going to do some walking here, of some of the curb appeal. So doing this, I wanted to make a little more curb appeal in this property. You can see some of the coloring, putting in the shutters. My first build did not have the curb appeal, and I've seen it hurt a lot of my rentals and it renting quicker. And so I worked on the curb appeal, even down to some of the landscaping. These are what's called Natchez crepe myrtles, which are real pretty white, and they grow 30, 40 foot tall as they get older. But I put the rock flower beds. I did all the things that are low maintenance and put these things in here, and then did some of the low maintenance stuff on the front. But you can see, you know, the curb appeal to this. Sorry, I'm trying to get this in here. And what this ended up costing, this one with the land and everything, I think it was $565,000 to build these. These are 3-bedroom, 2-bath units, and gave it a little bit of character so that it looked nicer. And these are side-by-side townhomes. And these actually, I'm renting these out as fast as I put them on the market. Granted, it's only been 3. And I've finished this project up in 2023. I've only had 1 turnover, and it rented within the first 2 weeks. It became available to another property. This is a project, this cul-de-sac is all 4-plexes. And one of the people saw that it came available and she wanted it, loved the look. And let's do a walkthrough, and I'll talk you through some of the builds, some of the changes I would make, how I came up with this floor plan. There was nothing out there. These are 16 wide floor plans, and I was trying to keep the master on the first floor. So I couldn't find anything. And interesting story, I'm drawing it with graph paper, and I couldn't figure it out. And what I did is I began to Google mobile home floor plans, because I thought, who are the designs that are very efficient? And it's usually mobile homes. Saw something on a mobile home floor plan and integrated that in, and came up with the design at 16 wide. 16 wide, and still have the master on the main, and it flows well. Let's go through a walkthrough. All right, let's walk in. This unit, they're moving in today, so I thought I'd get this filmed quickly. So you can see here, this is the living space and the kitchen. I'll talk a little bit at the end of some things. I have one more multifamily, and I'll be building a similar concept. But here is the kitchen. I did make this peninsula with some room to put bar stool seating. You can also see I did a little bit of shiplap to dress it up. My coloring on this, as you can see, I did black and gold. So I was looking for pendants and all the fixtures to be black and gold. Even added the undermount lighting. Cabinet space, because this is only 8 foot wide. This is a 3-bedroom, so we did the 42-inch cabinets. And I actually have thought of something that I'll change, and I'll talk about that at the end on the next build. Similar floor plan, but make some changes. Trying to get as much in here. Since it was so small, I had to put the fridge over here, but it's right beside. And you can see where the wash and dryer, I did a stackable. I provide this for the tenants, and then also put in some pantry or storage here to the side. Like I said, the master is on the main floor. Very, a good size here. You can see each one of the units has a pretty decent size backyard, fenced in. Walking into the bath, added a little more shiplap and some sconce lighting. You can see even the fixtures, a little bit of black and gold look. Like I always do, I dress up the shower, especially the master shower, frameless glass, put in this little niche. There's 2 there for the bottoms, typically where you would put maybe a bar of soap and some things, and up top for the big shampoo bottles. The waterfall feature there. Plenty of room here in the master closet with some cubby space that I put in there. Room for long dresses if needed. And you can see, let's go back to the kitchen. One other thing I want to show is I did the same tile, decorative tile. I put that little niche in above the stove. I do that quite often, but it matches all the others. Let's go upstairs. Heading upstairs, one of the changes I made, and I want to show this immediately, is this little space right here was designed to put the water heater. I made the choice to move the water heater up into the attic and add value with this space. So this right here made it into a small little office space that can be used because we're seeing more and more people doing some work from home. So I added a little value, took this as just a closet that didn't add anything for a water heater, moved it up and made this little office space. This is about, I think it's around 6 foot, 5 foot, no, I'm sorry, about 5 foot wide, and put in that, Formica countertop, put the plugs up above and one below with some undermount lighting that people appreciate. Several of the tenants have really appreciated this. With the bathroom, I did do the tile with the tub. These are metal tubs, not fiberglass, but I made it separate. You can see where 2 people could use it. Somebody's getting ready with the sink and somebody's either using the restroom or taking a shower, so that you could have up to 2 people in here using it for different things. Going back here, this is right above the master bedroom. I added the shelving here, so you almost like a second large bed. Each of these bedrooms are large, but this is as big as the master bedroom below. Closet space. Each of them have plenty of closet space. Same thing with the cubbies. For the dresses also. When I'm doing the shelving, I'm doing double shelving and leaving space to put long clothing in. Going here to the third bedroom, you can see here, large. One of the things that I do is I have it, when I'm building them, I block block it all. I keep it all the same. You can see that plug here up at the top. It's at the 6 foot mark. The blocking's right here. I put all the blocking to hang brackets for hung TVs right at 6 foot. I do that universal across all the properties so that I know exactly where they're at the 72-inch mark. But that's a good walkthrough, and let's go back downstairs. I'll talk about a couple of things, the changes. You'll see from these stairs, something I want to show you. I noticed where they start. I should have started them. I had another, that's probably 2.5 feet. I should have started them earlier, finished up at the top with a bigger landing. What I'm going to do down the road, because if I started the stairs right here at the beginning right there, by right in here, I'd have enough space to put built in underneath the stairway another set of cabinets underneath, maybe two cabinets underneath. So those are little things. I think also in here, some changes I'll make on the next one, which will be in the next couple of years, is this living room space is a little tight. So far it hadn't hurt me, but what I'm gonna do is push that wall, make it 2 foot deeper to give this living, dining, kitchen space that extra space. But then adding 2 feet, because it's only 16 wide, we're only talking about adding 32 square feet total. And so I'm trying to do this as efficient as possible, but that 2 feet will make a big difference in the feel of this space right here. So that's the walkthrough of this property on Courtney Place. And this is the look. I do design it even with the peninsula. I'm using the colors from the outside on this peninsula. As you can see, I love that this color green right now is very timely and timeless, I hope, and making this look nice. A few little decorative items with the shiplap, the nicer looking pendants. I don't order these from Lowe's or Home Depot. I'm going to specific websites looking at price and look and quality for each of my fixtures. Thanks for listening, watching, and doing the walkthrough of this property. Please like and subscribe to my channel. I'll always go through each of my builds, giving details, and you've seen several of them where I've put the financials to the recent ones that I've finished. Till next time. Okay, back here at the office, wanted to share a couple of more things. You know, I want to be honest in all of my videos and just share what I've learned. You don't get it perfect, especially when you're in the early stages. And this triplex, this was my my second build. Some things that I did to adjust. I wanted to work on the curb appeal, and you can see from the exterior, I chose some colors, added the shutters, a little bit of landscaping, but then I also added those storage units. And I'm going to talk about a few things that I got right and some things that I would say I would do differently now so that maybe you can learn, because that's why I'm doing this channel. The storage units, those have been a big hit. Of those three different units, all three are renting a unit and one is renting 2 of the storage units, which creates more revenue for the property, but then I believe causes them and creates for me a longer term tenant that has more things that they've got to move, but then it also makes it more convenient for them. The other thing that I did is this was a build in 2022 and finished up in 2023. With the increased amount of EVs in the market, and here it is in 25, they're selling now over 1 million EVs a year. I added a 240 plug to all of the units, and I picked up one of the initial tenants picked ours because we had a 240 plug for them to plug in and charge their EV. The other things that I would talk about, always make sure that you're doing the right numbers. And why I preach the 70% loan to value is from my years of experience in lending, but even some of the recent mistakes or things I would do differently. The bank allowed me to cash out, in a sense, from the initial build more than the 70%, and I finished up between 80 and 85%. So it's created a little bit tighter cash flow, and if I had to do it again, I would hold the line, and I have been since that 23 build. And why I preach it all the time is because of what it does for you financially and for cash flow and for flexibility. So this one initially cash flowed with that between 80 and 85% loan to value. I was cash flowing just above $175 a door. That would be good or fair. I'm different now, and I believe you should start at least 250. And my goal for me is I'm trying to start above 300, and I have been for the last multiple builds, but holding that 70% loan to value. The reason being is prices on things I couldn't fully control went up. Property tax rates went up. Some of the assessments got extremely large, but the main one was insurance. My insurance doubled in that time, which I created the higher deductibles. I did everything to keep it as low as possible, but my cash flow per door went from a little over $175 a door down to $100 a door. That's not where I want to be, but those are the reasons why I preach above 250, and now I'm trying to be 300, 350 at the beginning, and the 70% loan to value. Doing those things, I will share each unit, each property I build, I'll share where I've got it right, and I'm being honest and real with you of where I would do it differently and why this one I should have held the line at a 70% loan to value. My cash flow would have been well above $300 a door because there were things I couldn't fully control. But I will say, with the EV plug, I've picked up 2 tenants because we have that. The storage units, I've picked up people that are using those storage units, which creates more revenue. For the cost of it, it cost around $20,000, and I'm generating on those 4 storage units $200 in revenue. These are the things that I would continue to do. I like the curb appeal. I think it does rent extremely quickly. These are 3-bedroom, 2-bath. My 2 bedrooms seem to sit on the market just a little bit longer. My 3 bedrooms move quicker. I've had lots of comments about the curb appeal, even among the community. It's right along a major road, and so everybody's talking about how pretty it looks. I think it generated our tenants that much quicker, and they're proud of it. I've had several of them make comments. But that's what I wanted to share in the conclusion of this triplex, and be real and honest with you and what I've made adjustments going forward. Till next time.